Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellency, it is a real pleasure to be talking to you. Thank you for granting us this interview. Let me jump straight in. $20 billion in MOUs signed overnight. It is clear that Saudi Arabia means business, that Pakistan is important. Perhaps some people had some doubts about the seriousness of Saudi Arabia's commitment to Pakistan. Would you say that Saudi Arabia has proven yet again that it's a friend in need and a friend indeed?
I believe Saudi Arabia, we've had a very long friendship with the people and the government of Saudi Arabia. And this friendship and this love is spread over 1400 years. Even though Pakistan came into being in 1947, we'd have a love for our brothers in Saudi Arabia. We have always had concerns for their well-being. We believe that the Khadimain, Haramain Sharifain is a lover of Pakistan, and I think Pakistan has always enjoyed good friendship with the government and the people of Saudi Arabia in its last 70 years of existence. Whether it's an economic issue or any other issue, we are always concerned about the security of our brother friendly country, Saudi Arabia, and we will consider any danger to the Haramain Sharifain or to the people of Saudi Arabia as a danger to us as a people and as a country. So when Saudi Arabia comes forward in time of investment, when Pakistan is looking for investment, I think it's a very good opportunity for Saudi investment to come here. I believe the Vision 2030 of His Majesty the King is a very important vision, where Saudi Arabia's economy is looking towards establishing also, along with the oil base, a non-oil base, and Pakistan therefore becomes a very secure country now, and credit to our armed forces who have shown over the last 20-30 years that the only armed forces in the world which have been able to defeat terrorism at our borders, not allowed. If you look west of Pakistan, there are countries which have been devastated by terrorism and instability, and Pakistan is a very secure country now, and therefore it's a gold mine in the sense that more and more investment should come in. So it lines up very well with 2030 vision. The Saudi Arabia is looking for investment in non-oil sectors and increasing its revenues from non-oil sectors. That's why I believe the progress towards MOUs of $20 billion is a very important progress, and they also simultaneously established a Supreme Joint Commission for clearing the way if there are any bureaucratic hurdles on issues, and look urgently at matters so that this investment takes place. And His Royal Highness yesterday made a speech at dinner with the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Imran Khan, that this is the first phase.
Yes, sir.
So we are looking forward to much more investment and much more, therefore more employment in Pakistan and improvement of relationship between our two countries.
Let me ask you about another battle, one that you yourself and your party has been waging against corruption. And this is a very important topic because from the Saudi side, the government can only do so much. There's also the private sector. So perhaps some people, some investors, business executives might have some concerns about corruption. What sort of guarantees has the new government in Pakistan or measures introduced to safeguard the interests of investors?
It's a very important topic because since the creation of our party in 1996, our primary objective has been to fight corruption, to battle against corruption, because we believe that corruption is related to almost everything in Pakistan. The decreasing standard of living, the increase in poverty, all is related to corruption. And I must draw a parallel between what has been done in Saudi Arabia, with the strong hand His Royal Highness and His Majesty came against corruption. I believe Pakistan is unique in the sense today that the Supreme Courts of Pakistan and the High Courts of Pakistan are matching the vision of this new government against corruption. And there's a real battle, and I think we will overcome that, because our other we have had good relations with China also, and they've had a good battle on their hands, and they've tried to overcome corruption. So in fact, if you look at the new investors in Pakistan who are coming into Pakistan, some of whom I can name, they've made strong commitments based on the fact, openly based on the fact, that because corruption is getting less, and because the government is very strong against corruption, so therefore we can bring investment. Because the investor doesn't know how much does he have to earmark for corruption, what bureaucratic hurdles will he face so that his projects can run in a profitable manner. So I think that battle is very strong. And Pakistan, in fact, if you read the newspapers in the last 6 months, the government of Pakistan, the independent organization of National Accountability Bureau, and the judiciary, all are battling corruption. So I think the corruption figures in Pakistan. So two important things are emerging. Number one, security for foreign investors and their investments, and number two, the battle against corruption. Number three, opening up of Pakistan, opening up of visas, inviting people coming here to invest. Number four, that as Pakistan is opening up right now, and we have handled corruption, I think this is one of the best places in the world for good investment to come in.
What would you say are the 5 top sectors, for examples, for investors, for people who don't know much about the opportunities in Pakistan? What would your recommendation be for investors to look at?
I believe very strongly the industrial sectors, like for example the port, the refinery project which is coming in inshallah in Gwadar with the help of Saudi investment. Very important sector is then minerals is another important sector in Pakistan. We have abundance of minerals in all matters in Balochistan, in Hunza, etc. Third is tourism. I believe Pakistan is one of the most beautiful places in the world, but because of lack of security it did not take off, and there we match Saudi Arabia also. Saudi Arabia is looking for a great influx of tourists now, and I think in Pakistan also the tourism industry will come up. The fourth sector is what I am looking at. I have launched a presidential initiative on artificial intelligence and computing, because the new change in the world is going to happen in data, analyzing of data. Data accumulation is there, but the prospects of analyzing data and the industry to analyze data has been relatively lagging behind. So the billions and billions of data points will be analyzed by the new artificial intelligence, etc. coming up. I think that's a major area of training our people. In fact, even in Saudi Arabia, training people in artificial intelligence and computing, in blockchain technology, in dispersed ledgers, in robotics, I think is going to have very significant impact in the Middle East and in the Gulf. And also Pakistan stands at a good position with its educated youth to be able to learn these, and I have started the presidential initiative, and we intend to produce 100,000 people by the end of this year to start looking at it. So the opportunities are tremendous, opportunities are everywhere, and as Pakistan comes out of its despondency because of lack of security and corruption, as Pakistan comes out, it becomes a very golden sector for investment throughout the world.
Perhaps there are a few similarities as well. Saudi Arabia, you mentioned between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, you mentioned the focus on artificial intelligence, trying to fight corruption. What's your view on, for example, the Crown Prince's Vision 2030, which he announced almost two years ago, and has fundamentally changed a lot of things inside Saudi society. Now we have women driving. There is a zero tolerance on extremism, and I'll gladly to tell you, last year I was here in Pakistan. It was around this time that 1,000 clerics here in Pakistan issued a fatwa declaring suicide attacks haram. And I had the pleasure of meeting one of them, and he said, we get inspired by the changes happening inside Saudi Arabia. It gives us a boost. The Crown Prince has said that we will not waste any more time dealing with extremist ideas. And how important are these changes in Saudi Arabia, in your point of view, to Saudi Arabia itself and to Pakistan?
I think very important. I think the opening up of Saudi Arabia with the leadership of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has been very important. It is being watched, it is being appreciated throughout the world. At the same time, the Saudi stance against extremism and the Pakistan stance against extremism is important to let the people know who sometimes are misinformed regarding Islamic tenets and are taken in the wrong direction. I think that is a commonality between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. At the same time, Pakistan has an additional responsibility. It has a huge population. It is the sixth biggest country in the world. It has to take the people out of their poverty and lack of education and lack of health facilities. I think the Prime Minister in Pakistan has started a very good scheme of health insurance, 700,000 rupees to every family. Whoever gets sick, they can go into the private sector or into the government sector hospitals and get treated with good health facilities being given, because people then burn their savings to get treated and the whole family is brought down. They may be rising for the last 10 years, but because of health needs they come down. One, and number two is to provide good education to the youth of Pakistan. So with these two sectors, we need to lift people out of poverty and employment. Now, looking at the Saudi vision of 2030 and looking at the fact that Saudi Arabia is thinking of implementing Saudiization of its economy, I think therefore it still needs places for good investment. Saudi funds for investment abroad. I think Pakistan therefore fits in exactly like two brothers. We fit in our needs and we fit in our directions, and we fit exactly as far as our vision is concerned for the future. Modernization, the way you mentioned in Saudi Arabia, taking people out of extremism and giving them opportunities to work and for a better livelihood and happiness within the country. I think the goals are very similar to Pakistan and Saudi Arabia.
Allow me to move a little bit towards geopolitics here in Pakistan. And I've been here since Thursday, and of course I noticed the tension in Kashmir and the accusations from the Indian side that Pakistan targeted a convoy. Pakistan, of course, has denied this, but it seems to me that the tension is still brewing. I wanted to check with you what's the latest position of Pakistan, and how do you see this particular incident being resolved? Escalation, or is there room for diplomacy?
Pakistan has always put forward its hand of friendship as soon as the Prime Minister came into power. Those are occasions when governments look at other governments. Now, this is a new leader. Let's look forward to improving our relationships. And the hand of friendship was rejected right away. An excuse was brought out, which was old, 3 months old, but the excuse was brought out to get out of that commitment. Kashmir is a very important issue, but Pakistan doesn't intend to allow the use of its soil for creating terrorism anywhere. And I think what is happening in India is an indigenous resistance to what the Indian government is doing in Kashmir. And on February 5th, there was a Kashmir Day in Pakistan. I spoke in Muzaffarabad, the capital of Azad Kashmir, and I spoke here. Pakistan has shown its grave concern for the loss of lives in this incident. Pakistan has always said, in fact, 5 of our police personnel 2 days ago were killed somewhere in Balochistan. Pakistan is always concerned about terrorism being carried out within its country and anywhere abroad. So we have requested the government of India. Still, we have withheld our reactions. We have requested the government of India to come forward with any information. And on tangible information, we'll make progress. At the same time, look at J.Abbas. the employed Navy person from India who was caught in Balochistan doing similar activities, and we have taken the issue to court. We have given India information about him, and on the other hand, India shoots from the hip, a blame game starts, and India has never sat with us in the last 15-20 years, has used the excuse of terrorism not to have a dialogue with Pakistan. If you don't have a dialogue, the result is, and you keep on oppressing the people of Kashmir, they react based on their own circumstances. There is no issue with me on what I cannot give an opinion about that, but they react on whatever happens in Kashmir.
Another geopolitical development happened with Iran almost around the same time. Iran is also making accusations that about 27 of the Revolutionary Guard were shot by Pakistanis. They've made some intimidating comments, I believe, regarding Pakistan and its seriousness to kind of curb fighters. I wanted to check with you what the position of Pakistan is, and what happens if Iran sides with enemies of Pakistan, in rhetoric at least.
What happens along a border which is not patrolled so well? What happens is Yadav was coming to Iran, taking action in Pakistan without the knowledge of Iranian government. So we never blamed the government of Iran on that issue. But Yadav was responsible for carrying out a lot of terrorist activities in Balochistan. Similarly, there may be elements in Pakistan who are not in our control or whatever, and they may be doing something, but I'm not sure, I have no information. But I trust Iran is our neighbor, is a very friendly neighbor. We have a good past of friendship, and we have a good future of friendship with Iran. And I think these matters should be looked at by concern from both sides, that people, terrorists from across the border should not infiltrate and do something. And we believe in Yadav's case, the Indian government has been responsible for increasing the Balochistan insurgency. That is why, as far as blaming the governments, that is why it is very necessary to exchange information between India and Pakistan, and between between Pakistan and Iran, and between Pakistan and the government of Afghanistan, so that we are cleaned of terrorism. And the hats off to our security forces in the world, one of the most important military establishments who have managed to keep terrorism and reduce terrorism in Pakistan tremendously. That's why we are so secure today. Had we not been handling that well, we wouldn't have been secure. So we've been able to resist a lot of that. India also has to look at Kashmir as a source of dispute and discontent within Kashmir itself, and the rights given to the people of Kashmir.
Another geopolitical question is about China. We are seeing China and Pakistan get closer. It was actually brought up yesterday in the dinner as an opportunity even for Saudi Arabia. Perhaps you can shed some light, because not many people understand the kind of strategy of this of closeness with China, and what benefit it will do for Pakistan and the region.
Let me point out to you that China and Pakistan have been friends since their formation. Since China became independent and since we became independent, we have been very close friends, and our history goes back to the 50s, 60s as a fact of our friendship. In fact, the Chinese opening up to the Western world was on the encouragement of Pakistan. And if you remember the trip of Secretary of State Henry Kissinger from Islamabad to Beijing, so Pakistan was the window of China to open the world. So our friendship is very deep. Our friendship is today the world has experienced only transactional relationships, except between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. No transactional relationships. It is a bond of friendship and love. Similarly, between China and Pakistan, there is a bond of friendship also. The geopolitical forces somehow exploit the region with their own intent. For example, the closeness of India with other powers aligning itself against China is a matter of concern for us. And China has opened up the CPEC corridor, which is a good opportunity for Saudi investment all along. China has started a One Belt, One Road initiative throughout the starting from the Far East, going all the way to Europe. And I think with the Chinese population and increasing presence in world trade, this friendship between Pakistan and China is important. It is not against any country. I think that is a very important thing which I must point out. It is not against in any country, but it is pro the people of Pakistan and pro the people of China, not against any country. Or our own developments are linked together.
My last question, we are a bit pressured on time. You've been very generous, Your Excellency. Before you were a politician, you are a famous dentist. You come from a family of dentists. Your father was a dentist. Your son is a dentist. I want to say you are expert in making people smile. So my question now, as a politician and as a president, what will it take to make Pakistanis smile, inshallah, forever?
I think prosperity. And I think happiness, and I think friendship in the region and with other people. These things come out from the heart. You know, a human being is made up of hate, phobia, love, friendship, and these are intangibles. You can't put a value on that. You see, the friendship between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia comes from the heart. You can't put a value on that, worth so many billions or not. Similarly, among people, if they have food, if they have relative prosperity, if they have education, if they have health, I believe this is the foundation of putting smile on everybody's face. And then from within the country, and then in our relationships with other countries, if we are clean as far as that, we understand human misery, the value of life should be similar between Pakistan, between Saudi Arabia, of an individual, or China, or USA, or in the Middle East. When governments and people do not value the lives of other people at the same level, they are bound to create misunderstandings and miseries of war. If you value humanity and people and children, like the tenets of Islam has put a great value on any death happening to any individual who did not deserve that, and I think that friendship and that love will bring happiness on all our faces, all our lives.
President Arif Alvi, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for talking to Arab News.